Yo, what's going on guys, Arekkz here, welcome back to another Division video. And in today's video, given that the PTS and Survival, by extension, have wrapped up for now, and we're now waiting for an official release date, I figured we'd take a look at a weapon that I obtained from a Survival cache during my time playing the game mode, and that is the Famas. This is also a weapon that a lot of you guys have been asking me about. Some of you guys noticed it on my backpack during my frontline gear set video, and it is, in my opinion, a pretty awesome weapon. I have had a lot of fun playing with this. I will say right now that I personally feel it's slightly more geared towards PvP than PvE. This is a burst fire weapon as opposed to sustained damage, but I'll speak more about that in a moment. But in short, it's a really nice weapon, it feels really good, and it's just generally speaking nice to have something else thrown into the mix to kind of break up the current sort of weapon meta. So, with that being said, in this video we're going to take a look at what it can do, its unique perk, and of course see how it fares up in both PvE and PvP. So if you do enjoy this, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below if you have any questions. But to begin with, this is what it looks like. It looks really, really awesome. It is also a fully automatic weapon. Some of you guys asked in the comments on my previous video whether it was a burst fire weapon or an auto weapon, because depending on the game that you played in the past, then the Famas can often take different forms. I think it was Modern Warfare 2 Call of Duty game, I believe Famas was a burst weapon, whereas some other games it is full auto, and in the Division it is the same, fully automatic. Now this has an absolutely insane rate of fire, 900 RPM, so you're going to blitz through your magazine very, very quickly. As standard, it comes with 30 rounds, and if you don't have any sort of magazine extension, you will be reloading a lot of the time. So it goes without saying, you're definitely going to want to mod this with some sort of magazine size increase, because otherwise you're going to have to deal with a hell of a lot of downtime. It also has some decent base damage. Of course, it does roll at your usual different values. But one of the interesting things with this weapon is the perk that it comes with. You guys should be familiar with the fact that a lot of weapons, a lot of the new weapons that have been added, they tend to come with a perk that is unique to that weapon. You can roll it out if you don't like it, but in the case of the Famas, it's actually pretty interesting. The talent is called Uncomplicated, and it reads, damage is increased by 15%, accuracy and stability mods reduce this bonus. So what that basically means is, if you mod this weapon for stability and or accuracy, then you're going to remove this bonus. But if you run without those mods, then you gain a 15% damage increase. Now, of course, modding for accuracy and stability is something that people do a lot of the time. In fact, it's something that is pretty hard to avoid quite often, because a lot of your mods will just come with this baked in. But if you do go out of your way to not apply these, then you can in fact see the difference. You'll see here, side by side, on the left here is the weapon without accuracy and stability mods, and on the right you'll see it with the mods. You can of course see that the damage being dealt on the left to the body is higher than that of the right, because of course the mods are stripping it of the bonus. Now the interesting question is going to be, alright, if I don't mod this for accuracy and stability, how is it to handle? And it's actually got a relatively straightforward recoil pattern. It fires pretty much straight up, so if you were going to use this without mods to try and sort of tame that and, you know, work with it and whatnot, then it is quite easy to use. Of course, you know, if you're taking off some of the things like the sights and stuff, you will lose some of those things like headshot damage bonuses or whatever you have on your mods. So you do need to ask yourself, in certain situations, is it going to be worth it when you could roll with something like brutal and just take that headshot damage if you're going to be aiming for the heads, or, you know, run with some other mods that are of course far better. But this is definitely something that I think could be interesting if, say, you got it in survival. I personally haven't encountered this during a survival game mode. Not entirely sure if it's possible, but if it is, then a lot of the time if you're playing survival game modes, you tend to have a weapon without mods on because you haven't found them, you haven't crafted them, you spent your materials elsewhere. So in places like that where you're using a bare bones weapon stripped down, it could actually have some value. However, that aside, ignoring the talent, how does the weapon itself feel? Now, I mentioned at the beginning, this is a very fun weapon to use. I really like the way it feels. It kind of reminds me of when the G36 was first added to the game, in that it just felt powerful. It felt really good in a sensible manner, not in like an unbalanced manner. But the one thing I will say is that I definitely feel this is more suited to, say, PvP encounters in the Dark Zone than it is PvE. And the main reason for that is because if you guys saw my top PvE weapons, you'll know that I stated that for PvE, you're typically better off with sustained damage versus PvP, where you typically lean more towards burst damage to account for the fact that players don't have quite as much health as NPCs. So, in situations when I played this, say, running through challenge mode missions, running through the underground, you do burn through your bullets very quickly, and a lot of the time you'll find that you run out of ammo before you kill the NPC. It's not necessarily a problem. You can reload relatively quickly, and it can still get the job done. You know, there is nothing to say you can't use this in PvE, but what I will say is I'm not sure whether I would take this assault rifle over, say, some of the other options like my G36 or other options like that. However, in PvP, this thing can melt. Now, it's also worth noting that in this gameplay you're seeing here, I do not have a PvP build, nor do I have a build especially geared towards firearms. This was my PTS build, so I was testing out, in fact, I was testing out Frontline, and I recorded this gameplay straight after that video, so I'd removed all of my other gear set pieces to make room for my survival loot, meaning I was running around the dark zone with my Frontline set, but not using shield. So this is the complete opposite to an optimized build. However, if you catch people off guard, this can still absolutely melt through their health. Now do bear in mind the PTS build did have armor damage effective in PvP. That is of course subject to change, so I wouldn't necessarily read too much into that at the time being. Also note that the tactical link in this build of the PTS had the 35% damage bonus as opposed to the recently adjusted 30%. So there were, truth be told, a lot of things stacked in the weapon's favour, but regardless, it is still very, very good. You do need to bear in mind, however, that given the rate of fire and given the magazine size, if you do miss a lot of your shots or someone's rolling around and you don't necessarily get to land that damage, then you will spend a lot of your time reloading, which of course leaves you open, so you do need to factor a lot of these things in. However, it does deal some very nice damage. It kind of falls into that similar category as the LVOAC, in that it's fast firing, burst damage, and if you were to pair it with a finely tuned PvP build, then I think a lot of you guys out there that are PvP players that do really enjoy the Dark Zone, I think you're going to get a lot of mileage out of this weapon. Anyway, that's pretty much it, just a quick look at the weapon itself. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, again, let me know in the comments down below, but this is definitely a weapon that I super enjoyed using. I would definitely recommend you guys try and check it out if you get one when Survival and patch 1.5 goes live, but for the time being, thank you for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.